What's up guys, Houndish here, and today Festival of the Lost kicks off for 2023, and of course it's lovingly, or not so lovingly, known as Festival of the Cost. Because as always with seasonal events, plenty of the items are associated with the Eververse store. No surprises there, however, there are as always items that can be purchased for both Bright Dust and Silver during the event. And so in this video we're going to focus on loot that can be purchased for both currencies, and if you want to avoid spending Silver when you can instead spend Bright Dust. Hopefully this video will be useful as, of course, plenty of items will be rolling out throughout the course of the event, and a lot of times stuff that comes up in the first week for Silver will end up being available for Bright Dust a couple of weeks later on. So we're going to break down that information in the video. As always, I hope you find this one useful. If you do, get subscribed to the channel, and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content, but without further delay, let's get into it. And so first up right here, big shout out to Today in Destiny for their Eververse calendar. Right now, we can't preview exactly when items will be featured, but we can see the items that are going to be available for both Bright Dust and Silver, so we'll focus on all of those, and if any of them pop up for Silver in the store, at least you'll know that they'll later be available for Bright Dust. But before we get into that, of course Bungie made a couple of updates for Festival this year. We've got new focusing options for exotics, and of course the Festival weapons. No doubt there will be a question about the Festival of the Lost armor though, and typically with these events, the armor set is available only through the Eververse store, and most of the time that will be a Silver only purchase, so as far as we know it will cost real cash to get the Festival armor. Give us your thoughts about that down below. Additionally, there will be the event card that has a bunch of cosmetic items as well, and those will be available for real cash too, but there'll be a separate set of items which are available via the Eververse store, so let's focus on stuff that will be available for Bright Dust throughout the course of the event, and initially for weapon ornaments. There's a Worm Perilous, which is a pretty nice ornament there for Parasite. We can see that it does have a Silver cost of 700, but it'll also be available for 1250 Bright Dust at some point in the event. So if you missed out on that in previous years, there'll still be a Bright Dust option to purchase, but that could be during any of the 3 weeks that Festival is active. On top of that, another weapon ornament for Festival is the Promethean Prelude, which is a Grand Overture ornament. That one will also be available for 700 Silver, as well as 1250 Bright Dust. So keep your eyes out for those. It's possible Bungie will add other weapon ornaments as well, but they're not currently visible, so we'll simply have to wait and see. On to other exotic items though, there's the Ghastly Durance exotic emote. It's going to come up for 1000 Silver, but can also be purchased for 3250 Bright Dust. The same costs will be applied to the Lunar Roar exotic emote, but importantly it will be available for both currencies, as will the Tombstone exotic emote. And those are returning items, but there'll be a new one, the Pumpkin Carving exotic emote. We can't preview it until Festival goes live, but importantly it'll be available for both currencies. Plus there's the Buster Ray exotic emote, and the Gourd Summoner exotic emote, and once again, all of these emotes will cost 1000 Silver, or 3250 Bright Dust. Then on to legendary emotes. Initially, there's the Skeletal Dance. This will cost 500 Silver, or 700 Bright Dust, and the same costs will be applied to the No Escape legendary emote, as well as the Zombie Shuffle emote. There'll also be a new rare emote called the Accursed Sun, and that one's available for 200 Silver, or 400 Bright Dust. And again, we can't preview that until Festival goes live, but at least we know it'll be a thing. Now on to some of the other exotic cosmetics though, and we have the Hexing Shell exotic Ghost. This will cost 600 Silver, but there'll also be a purchase option for 2850 Bright Dust. Plus a new one for this year will be the Spinneret Shell. The same costs will apply to that, plus it appears that it will be available in a bundle too. So if you fancy purchasing a bundle that has that in it, just keep in mind, the Ghost Shell itself will be available for Bright Dust too. Plus another exotic shell that'll be available is the Heart Powered Shell, once again 600 Silver or 2850 Bright Dust. On top of that though, we'll see the return of the Jacko Shell this year, which is a pretty cool Pumpkin Ghost Shell. That does however take us on to exotic vehicles, and firstly, we've got the Necrobeast exotic Sparrow. This one's going to come up for 800 Silver or 2500 Bright Dust. Plus for the same cost, we'll get the Mad Machinery exotic Sparrow come up. But for exotic ships, there'll be the Retrograde Tora, and the purchase costs here are 800 Silver or 2000 Bright Dust. And for the same cost, we'll get the Extraterrestrial Vehicle, which is a new exotic ship for 2023. That one will also feature in a bundle, so just keep in mind it does have a Bright Dust purchase cost as well. And then there is the Fairy Tale Flight exotic ship, another new one for this year, as well as the returning Mance Macabre exotic ship. So if you're after any of the festival vehicles, keep your eyes out for those. Next up, let's briefly cover some of the shaders. These don't have a silver cost, so on the most part they will be featured for Bright Dust. And that includes the Nougat Delight shader, as well as Skelligall, the Flower Child, and reanimated Verve shaders. And as expected, shaders cost 300 bright dust, so I'll keep you posted on when those come up in the reset videos. But onto Transman effects right here. Initially, there is the Batwing entrance. This has a possible cost of 200 silver or 450 bright dust. And the same costs apply to the reanimated entrance Transman effect initially, but there'll also be the Murder of Crows Transman effect for Festival as well. And so that's going to do it for the bulk of the Festival of the Lost items that'll appear in the Eververse store. Once again, there may be some additional new items, although a lot of the new stuff is already listed, we just can't see it, so that probably accounts for all of the items that can be purchased for bright dust, and otherwise, there'll be plenty of bundles, once again, the Festival armor, and the event card associated items that have to be purchased with real cash. But for any of the items in this video, despite them showing up for silver, just keep in mind they will have a bright dust cost according to the schedule right here. So if you want to avoid spending silver when you can instead get it for bright dust, hopefully the video has been useful today, guys. Of course, outside of purely cosmetic items, there are some other rewards that are associated specifically with gameplay, so there are all of the festival weapons, and Bungie have introduced a new focusing option that helps us get access to the specific weapons we want more easily, so the gameplay rewards portion of festival has probably technically improved this year over last year, and if you want to see all of the weapon rolls, I do have a separate video which I'll link down below with that stuff, but additionally Bungie have introduced an exotic focusing element, which will enable players to earn older exotics, pretty much up until the Lightfall release, and there are focusing options for specific armor slots, so that's an added element that could be useful for newer players specifically. And also there'll be a new memento that can be earned via the Eerie Engram as well, in the form of this pure black sort of weapon shader. So of course, while there is a very microtransaction heavy element to Festival, there are a bunch of rewards that can be earned via gameplay as well. But let us know down below whether that piques your interest for this year's event. I will, as always, keep you posted if we get any additional items or things worth knowing about the event, so be sure to get subscribed right here on the channel and turn on notifications so I can keep you posted. If the video has been useful though, a rating below really does help us out, and let us know any items you're looking out for in this year's event. But otherwise, as always, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.
This sector has produced a high volume of Headless One sightings. Yes! Destroy them! Drive them into the void!